already started. Hangouts is on the air. Of course, we're not really hangouts. We're old dropouts who like to fly drones. So, but anyway, with that being said, this is basically season 3, episode, what did I say, 4 or 3? No, 3, episode 3. And it's entitled, Did Osmo Action Pocket Your Cash? So that's going to be the subject here in just about 5 or 10 minutes. If we build some people in the chat so that we'll be talking about that, I'd like to know if you did or didn't buy the Osmo Action today and your reasons why. But we'll bring that back up in a little bit. But first off, we figured we could talk more about the toy drones, kind of like how drone therapy is, because that's kind of the introduction level to drones and kind of getting into the sport as it is. So I'm going to flip it over to Ron Brown, and maybe he's got a Xeno update since Monday for us. Ron?
Thank you, Bill. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Drone Therapy. It's going to be a great show tonight. We have a good panel, and you have the Xeno Nation boys here, but we don't have a whole lot for you here tonight. It's concerning the Xeno. There was a black Xeno seen on AliExpress this weekend. They were kind of overcharging for it. I haven't purchased yet, but you never know. Marcus could have his finger on the buy button, but a lot of people like the black. But as Bill Thomas theorized on Monday Night Show, it's probably just a black plastic coating. It's probably nothing different about it at all. So and also real quick, and I'm going to pass it along. Chris, the QC guy, who's a guest on a recent episode of Xeno Nation, has a video where he demonstrates how to unbrick your controller if you unsuccessfully updated it using the jumper pins. So you can unbrick it and then download that update for the controller. So if anybody has that issue, I've actually posted on Xeno Nation a link to Chris's video. So on that note, I'm going to pass it to Bill, the drone reviewer.
Hey, Ron, thanks a lot. It's been a whirlwind kind of a day today with everything going on here. One of the things that I wanted to mention briefly, and I know Bill talked about this the other night, is the FAA memo that came out. And I got a video coming out on that tomorrow. So you guys definitely want to check that out. But that's something I think both hobbyists and Part 107s need to pay attention to because rules are going to go into effect on Friday. So I think that's something we want to kind of focus on. So, and we got a lot to talk about tonight, and I'm going to hand this over to the other better half of Xeno Nation himself, Mr. Marcus Crawford.
Hey, thank you, Bill. I appreciate it. So yeah, we started off with a pretty exciting day today. Did a couple of live shows this morning. But right after that, I decided, as Bill the drone reviewer says, it's a great day to fly. So why not? Let's get out there and fly. So I grabbed the FEMI X8 SE, and you see it doesn't have a battery in it because it's out the other room getting charged right now. But what I did was I drove to a site just kind of about 20 miles south of town out in the boondocks called Initial Point. And what that is, it's a place where they first did the very first survey of Idaho. So that's the original stake where they did the survey. And it's up on top of this kind of mountain thing. And there's a road to get up there, but it's pretty rocky. So I did some rock crawling in my Dodge Durango. It got pretty kind of hairy getting up there, but I got to the top, took that FEMI out for a flight, and it was, of course, as you would expect, you get out there someplace and you get on top of a bluff, and it was pretty windy. But I got to tell you, that FEMI is a powerful drone, man. It handled the wind, and I can say in situations that would have where the Xeno would have struggled, that FEMI just rocked it. So I had a great fun flight today, and that was a good way to spend the day. Bill Thomas, I understand you had some stuff going on today too.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Marcus, for throwing it back to me. I wanted to kind of roll through the chat here. I saw Ted 10 at the very beginning, Above and Beyond Drones, Thomas O'Sullivan, Ethan Mitchell. We're going to teach you how to stream so that you can start being on some of these pages because everybody knows you put out great content. Peter Carroll, Parks and Tech. Let's see. Y'all help me out here for Art Co. Glad to see you in here. Val's Life's in here. Good to see you. Good to see you. Ron Brown. I know that guy.
Yeah, I think he's in here.
I think he's in here. Yep, I see Idaho Quadcopters in here. I can see. Oh, there's Chris, the QC guy, just like you were talking about just a little while ago.
About him.
Glad to see everybody in here. Something that I wanted to kind of roll over to. I might bring up this rant about Home Depot later when we kind of run out of stuff to talk about. But you know how we are when we ramble. But Bill, the drone reviewer, just hit on it. Marcus brought it up to me. I had said something about it Monday night when the news broke. John Coopy, if you haven't checked him out, go check out John Coopy's channel. He does a lot of FPV stuff, a lot of toy drone reviews. It's a really good channel. Stuff to do and he gives you a good in-depth review and gives you a good understanding of what's going on with each product. So anyway, he sends me this message and said, hobbyists are going to go crazy because it turns out that even though they've all come up with the new, everybody's seen the new bow tie that comes up on DJI and everything. Well, if you're in Class D airspace, even though you might be outside of the bow tie, but you're still kind of in the loop, you're not going to be able to fly Saturday midnight or, when it becomes Saturday, Friday night midnight when it flips over, because the new law says that if you're within 5 miles of an airport, you have to get clearance. Well, you can't call the tower anymore to take off in your backyard. They've been told to refuse you. So sometime this summer, you've all heard me gripe about this before. Why can 107 pilots use it for a hobby flight, but hobbyists can't? So suddenly, sometime this summer, they're going to give hobbyists access to the LAANC so that we can get clearance to fly in our backyards if we happen to live near an airport. We'll still be limited to the 200 feet, all that stuff, just like we would ordinarily. But in the meantime, they've created a website that's going to put us on airfields that are within not just 5 miles, but within 2 miles of the airstrip that we can fly our drones on. So basically, they're going to give us a little box, near the airport where we can fly. And I just started thinking, that's actually kind of cool because they're going to let us get right next to the airport and be able to take pictures of the planes taking off and landing from 200 feet in the air. But then I got to thinking, okay, if they're going to take all this time and create a website and have people go look at it to see where they can fly, it seems like there's a bigger motive lingering back here, doesn't it? Like, why would we need, first off, if we're going to be able to use LAANC to get clearance, why would we need a little strip of land if for in the meantime, especially if they don't even have the field already, but the law goes into effect Friday. So I'm thinking, wait a minute, they're going to make a website and they're going to designate these little strips of land that we can fly on. This seems more and more like they're going to make us go get on these little strips of land and fly. And that's the only place we're allowed to fly unless we get 107 and become professional pilots, but flying as hobbyists, which I still think that I thought that all along. They want us to be at least 16 years of age or above, and in some way, shape, or form have to go through like a driver's ed course and spend your money and time to show that you're willing to follow rules and regulations.
Hey, Bill, what about Class G airspace then?
At this point, it just says Class D from what I've said. Is that not the way that you've read it?
Yeah. So just controlled airspace is all that it affects. Okay. I just wanted to see if you guys looked at it any different than I did.
But doesn't it seem awkward to you that they're going to designate a space within 2 miles of the field to fly drones on?
Yeah, and ironically, when we were talking about that or chatting about it earlier today, there is one in Boise that I'll bet you it's not 1.5 miles from the main international airport. That's one of those AMA hobby fields, and I got to be honest with you, I always wondered about it. Why it didn't seem like a very good place to put it.
Okay, here's the other thing that's going to make them mad is now with this happening, does that mean we're going to have to pay their fees and dues and join the AMA just to access that field? Or is the government going to go, oh, no, no, no. You all have to give them free access now because we've kicked them out of the sky.
And to your point, how many drone flyers you think will be on that field every day?
Oh yeah, exactly. And the thing about it is the nearest one to me happens to be, like you said, near an airport, and they've got one little area chewed out for drones, and I'm like, whoa. Now, if you mean that's what they're gonna make us fly on that same field, but the whole point is we're probably not gonna have to pay to access it, I guess.
Hey, you made me think of something, Bill. Everybody here probably has watched the RC Sailors from time to time. You notice that they always fly on an AMA airfield. All of his videos are all on that same airfield.
It's their field. They own the property. Come on, man.
Oh, do they?
Yes, they own the property.
Oh, it looked like it was a hobby field because you see other hobbyists out there.
It is, and they're all part of their group.
Oh, I see. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, they own the field and everything, man.
Well, Mark, did you hear Sean Matthews said that the next Spanish drone seekers outing, they're going to be at an airport?
Yeah, so I'm sure, knowing Sean and what went on in Spain in the real estate crash, you've seen some of their videos. I'm willing to bet there's an abandoned airfield out there someplace that they're going to go out to. That's just me guessing. Right. So that's what I suspect.
Well, that's another thing, too. You remember after we finished Monday night, I showed you all that property. I've looked even more. There's still nothing registered, no bill of sale, no nothing.
So, by the way, Koopy's in the house.
Yeah, that's what he was talking about it. And then he even pointed out that, yes, the RC Sailors own that property. So what do you all think about that? Do you think that they're going to – is it inevitable that they're going to push us onto these little cubicles if we want to stay hobbyists? And because see, the thing about it is a 107 pilot can use LAANC to get access to fly near an airport and get clearance pretty much for any flight, and they can call it a hobby flight, and it's legal.
Well, you know what I'm seeing here, Bill? I'm seeing a money grab by the FAA. I'm seeing them saying, you know what, you want to do this, okay? You want, if you're Part 107, we'll give you the keys to the kingdom, okay? But if you're not a Part 107, you got to play by our rules. So yeah, in a Part 107, I'm sorry, okay, it's a cash grab. That's all it is. It really is. Because I've talked to a guy. He's a private helicopter pilot out in California, and he has told me. He said that test and most of the questions that are on that test are what I would take on an FAA exam for a pilot's license for either helicopters or private aircraft.
I got to say something real quick. I say, hello, Paul Murray. Hello, Drone Shots. FSU grad 03. Glad to see you here. Val, of course, glad to see you here supporting as always. Anybody that's interested in giving Val one of your creative and mindful interviews, I'm sure she needs some people to come by and say hi. She might be wanting to get a list started. I don't know. So go by and check out Val's channel if you haven't. And Ethan Mitchell, like I said, Ethan Mitchell showed up a couple of weeks now. He shows up on Builder Drone Reviewers channel. Ethan, if you haven't already checked it out, check out Xeno Nation, which I think might be evolving sometime soon. That was good. I pulled out my earplug. Into Drone Nation so they can kind of broaden their field and talk about more things. Paul Murray does a lot of really killer big boat videos. If you haven't already checked his stuff out, go over there. Above and Beyond Drones, like I said, they're in here again talking about fees for 107 registration, 2-year continuous basis. Yes, a cash grab without benefits. I think what they're wanting us to do, and yes, right now they're seizing all these big bucks. They're going to take it while they can, but eventually it's just going to be like when not when our grandkids, but probably when our great-grandkids start flying drones or, God, whatever, air scooters, then it's going to be like a driver's license. You're going to have to take the basic course, get the basic idea. You're going to take it in school or online. It's going to be just like when you take the 107 classes by all these different companies now before you take the big test. So that's what I think it is. But, yeah, right now it's just like gimme, or flying a box.
Now, Bill, I got a question for you, Bill Thomas. Now, what about the drones that are under the weight limit?
I don't think that reads that way. I think it's just saying drones, period. I don't see anything about weight.
It could be the tiniest drone in the history of man, and the rules apply to it. Okay.
Exactly, man. That's what we're reading. Have y'all read it any differently? Is there anything about weight in that thing? It just says drones.
No, I didn't say anything about weight at all, Bill.
So it's just like, it's kind of because John and I have gone back and forth over this. I'm terrified that people who try to break the rules are going to get severely thumped. And they're like, oh, no, they're not. They're not. And I'm like, man, there's too much corporate money behind this. I'm really afraid that, they're not going to smack everybody, but some people that really go beyond, trying to get views or something like that, they're not going to just go visit them. They're going to make it public and drop the hammer. Right. I think they're going to make sure that people understand if you don't want to fly and you don't want to get 107, you got to fly in this little box that we're going to give you.
Hey, so let me ask the rest of you guys. So one of the things that's really we're lucky to have in Idaho is there's a lot of Class G airspace. There's a ton of places I can go that is out of controlled airspace and fly my drone like I did today. Do you guys have those same opportunities in Florida? Now, I can imagine Seattle. I used to live up there in the Puget Sound. Boy, there's an airport every place you turn around up there.
Well, right by where we live, and it comes up all the time. I live near a hospital. I'm within 5 miles of a hospital, and there's a helipad there. All right. Well, I'm on the outskirts, so it doesn't hit me. But I go over a block or two. It's in that airspace, and it's one of those things. And there's no control tower there, but it still comes up as controlled airspace because they need that. That's for emergency purposes. So it's like.
Well, okay, Dan just jumped in the chat and he was talking about it. He's like, he thinks it's a done deal. And he's just saying he's gonna go rogue no matter what. So he's at that point because he's that frustrated is what he's saying. So yeah, that's I'm just saying I'm worried that they're gonna, because he told me the same thing. He's like, I don't care. I'm gonna do it. And I'm just afraid they're going to make examples of people, and I don't want that to happen. And just like Ethan was talking about, he agrees with this. There's not going to be a weight limit. They're just going to try to drop the hammer on everybody. So with that, since it's been kind of a stuffy, puffy point, let us go back into the Osmo action section, and I'm going to flip it back over to Bill, and we'll kind of give a round robin of what we all think. And then, Bill, you can tell everybody what you did today.
Okay, I will tell everybody what I did today. Let me give my summation of what I think about the Osmo action. Now, for me, if you don't have a GoPro Hero 7, if you don't have an Osmo Pocket right now, this is a perfect camera for you. I think what DJI came up with some things that I had talked about this the other night, that they needed to come up with a few items that were not on a GoPro Hero 7, something that would say, you know what, this is going to make it stand out. This is going to be the action cam to get. Okay. This rock steady image stabilization. If you saw Peter McKinnon's video, how that works, it's incredible. Not only is the image stabilized, but the background stabilized, which I think is fantastic. And then one of the other things is the refresh rate on this. The refresh rate is 100 megabits a second, and on the GoPro Hero, it's at 70 megabits a second. And that's going to translate into much clearer, sharper images that you will get coming across there. And then the lens system on there, it's a screw-on type of lens, and I know the Hero 7 doesn't have that. But for me, I was expecting it to come in at $399, and they said the price point was going to be $299. Now, the reason it ended up being $349 was because of the tariff. Because if you go elsewhere, it's $299, but here in the States, it's $349. Well, I went ahead and I pulled the trigger, and I did it for a couple of reasons. One, I'm going to want to vlog our trip up to Ohio when my granddaughter's born. I want to be able to completely use that as a vlogging type of tool. And one of the other things that I really liked about it is that front-facing, image on it. You get to see, whenever you're doing a selfie, you get to see yourself and frame yourself perfectly in there. And I just absolutely love that. So it's gonna, and also I'm gonna use it also doing my drone reviews, and I'm gonna hook it up in the car when we're going out and vlog Valerie and I, and maybe occasionally use it for some other things, also maybe as a dash cam in the truck as well at times too. So it's going to serve multi-functions. So I'm excited about it. I think DJI did their homework. I think they did it right, and I'm just waiting to get it.
Any Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan gotta love what they're calling their motion stabilization. Rock steady. The first thing that popped into my head was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What? Because isn't that the name of the big rhino? Isn't his name Rocksteady? The mutant rhino in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, wasn't his name Rocksteady? Wasn't that what they called him? Does anybody know? Anybody in the chat today? And yes, I'm going to jump over to Ron and Emma. We're still going to talk about the Osmo Pocket, but you know me, I always try to give us a little tidbit breather here. A couple of other people jumped into chat. I see Dan has a new alter ego. Drone worships Pepe. And I don't know if is that Pepe Le Pew or what. Anyway, or is it Pew Pew Pew? Oh, well, is it? Maybe, I don't know. It's confusing. And Brian from True Drone Reviews, go check out him. Brian does a lot behind the scenes for the drone community. He's always keeping guys in review drones and stuff that ordinarily would be getting supplied by some of the Chinese distributors, but they've been kind of drying up here lately. So Brian's been passing those things along. If you haven't already checked out True Drone Reviews, go check him out, because he's always giving you true drone reviews. No bullshit. So, did I say that on cam?
Oh. Yes, you did.
I got beeped. Who knows? The censor might let that one slide. Maybe we went PG-13 today. Proper FPV brought up something that I thought was super cool, but Bill was on a roll, so I waited till he got a breath, and then I jumped in. He said he flew a shipwreck today, FPV. And so now you got me curious what kind of camera you had on it. He said he posted footage, so if you haven't already checked, something tells me maybe a Cinewhoop or something like that. Go check that out. Also, we got another Brian, B-R-Y-A-N, in the chat, Quadfather FPV, who's always putting up some crazy and really cool. And, I didn't know what – I had to ask Ed Ricker what those flips were. And then he finally explained to me what they were. And then the old guys in the room are going to remember this movie. It was The Great Waldo Pepper.
Oh, yeah.
And they were trying to do the outside loop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's a move in FPV that they do an outside loop, but I can't. What is it called, Brian? What is that loop called? What's that? God, now I can't remember, because you just got Nemo to pull one. And Robert Rudder, glad to see you in the house. Glad to see you here. He was talking about he's got lots of Matty Flip. That's it, Matty Flip. Some guy with his last name Matty came up with it, but it's an outside loop with a race drone. You remember how they would do it with the planes, and the planes were like, they're doing it with a race drone, man. And it's so cool to see the camera point of view when it does it. It's really, 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 really cool. And let's see, props off, power loop. No, it was a Matty Flip. That's what it was. I remember it now. But yeah, please go check those things out. And we will continue the Osmo talk. I will throw it over to, wait a minute. Yeah, let's go back to Ron. Ron?
Thank you, Bill. Yes, it was an exciting morning. We were expecting some kind of a live stream, but all we got was just the product dropping on the DJI store. But with so many leaks in the past couple of days, we were prepared for what we saw anyways. In fact, I'm not sure that some of the leaks weren't intentionally put out there by DJI, since they weren't planning any type of live streaming event. So, we got a good action camera. Probably the best action camera out there now. I mean, it's got to be tested, of course, but on the specs and first look, it looks like the best bargain out there in the action camera world. But I don't think we got any showstoppers here, because the action camera is such a mature market at this point. There's really nowhere to go as far as throwing a big showstopper in. I mean, they match the Hero 7. Specs are better than in almost all areas. I do have some updated news, Bill. I talked to Rick Smith today, and he says as of right now, there is no external microphone options for the Osmo Action. He said maybe in a future firmware update, they will add the ability to use like a Rode style microphone. But as of right now, there is no external microphone options for the Action. So that
you have pop bottle audio. Oh well, but at least it's stereo.
So if this information is wrong, I got it straight from Rick Smith.
Nah, he's got one. He's been playing with it for
Yeah,
one.
I'm just joking, but so I do have that nailed down, and I'll just jump off real fast. And I have the Hero 7, and been really happy with it. And again, on specs, it looks like the Action's a little bit better than this. But will I sell this on eBay, take a big loss, and upgrade to the Action? Nah. In fact, I'm action camera the same way I'm with cell phones every 2 years. So I will not be in the market for another action camera until 2020, no matter what's released by anybody this year.
Can you all believe that the DJI NDA is like 32 pages long? It's anyway, but yeah, so Marcus, what are got your point of view on the Action? Or here's I guess let's do it this way. Why didn't you buy one today?
Okay, that's an easy one. So because I already had the Hero 7. If I didn't already have the Hero 7, I for sure would have bought one. Also, if it had been priced more aggressively, if it had been like $249, yeah, even already owning this, I probably would have bought one. But $350, it didn't make much sense. The other point that I want to make is I've got the Osmo Pocket, and I love it. But what I found is when I had some focus issues with the Pocket when I was trying to do some things with the drone. So I tend to go to the GoPro because of the fixed focus and the wider field of view. And I feel kind of bad that DJI came out with the action camera after the Pocket, because I'll be honest with you, I probably wouldn't have bought the Pocket had their action camera been available first. So that's just it. But neither here nor there. I'm perfectly fine with the Hero 7, and maybe in a year or two I'll pick one up. What we do know about DJI is everything works really good, and that's the biggest thing you can say. If DJI has it in their specs or in their, you know that it works.
Okay, I made a mistake a minute ago. I shouldn't have mentioned how many pages a certain NDA agreement was. And there's a reason that all four of us are here together. So somebody's watching. So we got it. We got clearance. So Ron's got it. We have to share it between all four of us. Ron Brown has a new drone, and I'm going to pass it to Ron Brown.
Now listen, everybody in the chat, you can't say a word about this or share this video anyplace. This is only for the people in this chat, only the people on this live thing. This can't go anywhere else. Coming this summer will be the DJI Spark 2. And you can tell because it has that nice 2 right on top. Otherwise, it's identical.
Yeah, it's actually going to have the 2 on the drone now.
Yeah.
So I just do it like this, the Spark 2.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there we go.
Marcus has a secret.
They're going to come out with a special Iron Man Spark 2.
There you go. There you go. And it's going to have GPS and a 3-axis gimbal. And it just kind of pops out and then starts looking around and stuff. So anyway, but yeah, so that was how we were going to kind of segue into the Spark 2. And I actually saw the article on Drone DJ a couple of days ago, and there's some other stuff squawking around that, yes, they have heard everybody begging for, because even though the Mavic Air is foldable, it just seems like the Smart is easier to take with you. And the difference is supposedly there's a redesigned controller, there's a new battery housing and where it's located, but they've only jacked it up 2 minutes which makes sense because, like Rick Smith was telling us, lipos have not really accelerated that much in their evolution as to how much they can hold for a charge. So, anybody else found any new information on the Spark 2?
Well, no, the only thing I kind of want to concur, Bill, is, what we're seeing on there is something. I mean, I know you and I know Ron, and I think Marcus, we've talked about this before in terms of, trying to keep that price point down, because everybody's saying, oh, we want to see OcuSync 2.0. We want to see rear sensors, and people were starting to go crazy with stuff. And, Bill and definitely I were like, whoa, you start going crazy with those kind of stuff, that's going to get that price point above like $499. And that's what Drone DJ had kind of come in, and they were saying, we think that this is what the price point is going to be. It's going to be about $499. Now, it's going to have that 4K 30 frame per second with an improved 3-axis gimbal on there, which will definitely be a real good kicker. It's going to have a better transmitter. It's going to have, a better better transmitter system than it has. The remote's going to be better for it. All the way around, it's a lot of tweaks to something is what we're seeing here, and it's good tweaks. And then also too, they got smart because, they were offering every flavor under the sun for colors. And here, instead of seeing that, now we're just going to get black and white as far as colors are concerned. So I think that's good. I think they're doing things and they're looking at things to keep costs down, because they don't want this thing to go above $499. And I think they're doing it right. I really, really do.
I wanted to jump back in here real quick and say hello to Canadian Drone Hub. If you haven't already had your morning coffee with Canadian Drone Hub, please go by and check them out. A lot of their regulars are in the chat with us right now. Val's Life, Paul Murray, they're all people that you can see every morning on the Canadian Drone Hub. Also, Raymond Millwood dropped in here. I can see Brian, True Drone Reviews. You made me start laughing, Brian, because earlier, Canadian Drone Hub, and he was talking, okay, hit the like button. And then a couple of later comments later, Brian's like, Canadian Drone Hub, I'm still thinking it over. So I guess come on, go check out True Drone Reviews. Apparently we haven't happied Brian up enough. So I'm going to jump back into the Spark 2 talk with that. Back over to Bill. Do you want to throw it to somebody, or you got more to say?
Just a couple more things on that. Bill and I talked about this, and I think we talked about it in Facebook Messenger chat, and I think Ron was in on this too. Maybe Marcus, I'm not sure, but we talked about the timing of this and how, when, in all seriousness, when say somebody like a Kelly Shores or Rick Smith, gets one of these, it's weeks ahead of any type of a release scheduled. Inventory needs to get built up. Marketing plans need to be put into place. There's a lot of timing that goes into something like this. So this has been, something like this has been planned in months. And remember too, DJI learned its lesson from back in October 2016 when the Mavic Pro was released and the fiasco about getting that shipped out. And, they got smart here in the States, because now not only in Cupertino, California, which Steve Carpenter told me I pronounced right. I was pretty proud of that, but also in Atlanta, and I know there's one in New Jersey as well. So, they beefed up distribution here in the States to where, these things come, especially like, we were talking about the Mavic 2. Marcus, I know Marcus said, it came within like less than a week, and it was in my house. So, they've done things right, but there's a lot of planning that goes into this. So this isn't an accident that this information comes out. It's a good leak. It's from a good source, from Drone DJ. So it's exciting. I mean, and definitely, and I'll tell you right now, I'm going to hit that buy button as soon as it goes live.
Uh-oh.
For sure. Yeah, I will that day.
Who's going to hit the buy button the fastest that day?
I don't know. Well, I got Bill Thomas. You need to post your link, and I'll post mine, and we'll swap links there.
There you go. That's cool. But hey, wait a minute. I thought all four of us were going to be at the event.
Yes, we're all going to go to the event.
Oh, and another quick shout out. I wanted to say hi to Dan Drone Pool. If you haven't checked out Drone Pool, he does a lot of FPV racing, does some toy racing and stuff from time to time. Really been heavy duty into building his own race drones and doing some modifications and stuff like that. So check out Drone Pool. He was on with us a couple of weeks ago for FPV2 when I had Nemo and John Coopy on that time. You know, the thing about it is with John Coopy's kind of a jack of all trades because he can do FPV drones. He can build them from the ground up. He can explain them to you. He can review toy drones. He can tell you anything and everything that's wrong with toy drones. He understands everything about DJI and camera drones. He understands about photography. And so, I mean, the guy's super, super smart, but he hangs out with us. Go figure. Anyway, like I said, please check out those channels. And Bill, any more you want to throw to Ron or
no,
Marcus?
We'll go to Ron, and I want to see. Let's see that Spark 2 again, Ron. Bring it up so we can see it again.
There it is. Real fast. I can't have this NDA on camera too long.
Yeah. But we got special permission for just this broadcast.
Right.
Yes.
FSU grad in there said his money's on Marcus for hitting that buy button the fastest on the Spark 2.
If we make it to the event, I got a feeling we're going to be trying to bribe the DJI guy to give us the test model.
Okay.
What will happen is we'll be sitting in the front row because it was funny at the event in New York City. Billy's sitting there, Ken's sitting there, Rick's sitting there. They're all down in their phones, and I realized, and Valerie's like, "What are they doing?" I said, "They're buying their Mavic 2s right now."
It's a good thing Marcus wasn't sitting there with him since he's like a West gunslinger. He's got the fastest figure draw in the West, right, Marcus?
You darn tootin'.
They couldn't outdraw Marcus Crawford. I guarantee that. Marcus would tell them the new sheriff in town.
That's right.
Bill, back to the Spark 2 for a second. Now, let's give a little kind of background here. When the Spark 2 dropped in well, I'll call it the spring of 2017, it dropped into a kind of a market where it was kind of there by itself. It really didn't have any competitors in its kind of like price and class and what it could do. So it had that space all to itself. But when the Spark 2 arrives, I said Spark 2, the Spark 1. Spark 1 kind of fell into a category where it was kind of all by itself. So it dominated, in that category. But now Spark 2 will come out into a more crowded field of drones in the price range and some of the same performance things like 4K and 3-axis gimbal. But as far as I can tell, Bill, the Spark is still the only sub $500 drone that has obstacle avoidance. Is that correct to your knowledge? That's right.
Yeah. As far as I know, it is. I had just pulled up what they're saying the new specs are going to be. So, according to Hi Calesto on Drone DJ, please go check out his page. As a matter of fact, somebody, if you can get to it, it just says DJI Spark 2 rumors drone. I don't have a way to put it in the chat because I'm looking on this computer where the camera is. Okay. Anyway, they are as follows: 4K video at 30 frames per second, which we had already kind of figured.
Well, it's pretty much standard. You have to have that now.
Yeah. Okay. Increased video bitrate. So what was Spark before? I'm not 100% sure. 60 maybe?
50, something like that.
Okay. So we're going to go up to probably 90 or 100, probably 100 megabits per second or whatever, somewhere in that range, like the Mavic 2 but
yeah, well, hold on, but which is fine for a 12 megapixel camera. Like when you get to the 20 megapixels and 1-inch sensors, you need that 100. But at that size sensor, the anywhere near 100 is more than fine.
As we kind of thought, it appears they're going to put the improved 3-axis gimbal that the Mavic Air has. It will have Active Track 2.0. It will have actually a 2x digital zoom, which will be interesting, especially with 4K. So you could have probably lossless at 1080. Yeah. Increased flight time, 18 minutes instead of 16. So as Rick Smith has told us before, lipos have not gone far enough. New battery design, it won't be compatible with the old, kind of like what we happened with the Mavic 2 Pro. and we're hoping that they're not going to have it on the bottom anymore. Maybe they'll have it on the top now. It's going to have the same range that it's got right now, but we'll have a new antenna design and a new remote. So maybe the Tony the Tiger episode we saw, we're going to have maybe they're going to come out with a Wi-Fi smart controller. Wouldn't that be kind of wild?
Wow.
But they're not going to have OcuSync 2.0. It's going to come in 2 colors, black and white, like Bill was saying. And it's also going to have a new panorama mode. But I thought it had a panorama mode before.
It did. But this, I guess this is the new improved panorama mode.
Yes, new DJI new and improved panorama mode. So what do you all think about that? That's not too bad, actually.
Let me throw this back to the whole panel here. Of all those features Bill mentioned, they're all very good, and it's almost like the Osmo Action. It's a nice incremental upgrade in every area, but no showstoppers. What feature is missing from the specs Bill just read that you guys would want to see the most in a Spark 2?
For me, that's easy. That's a no-brainer, having a rear sensor, because so many people have crashed their Sparks, backing it up. There's no rear obstacle avoidance. Rear obstacle avoidance, I think, is something that definitely should have been included. That's a must.
Do you think it's a possibility? Any possibility at all that it has rear obstacle avoidance sensors?
It could. It depends upon, again, the big thing here is the cost factor. So I don't see it because of the cost factor right now, but I wish they would.
Yeah, so I got a couple of things I can say about the Spark, and first off, I need to thank Ron Brown, because I probably never would have owned one. So I'd had a bunch of other drones, Mavics, etc., and never really thought about owning a Spark until I'd see a lot of people with them, and yeah, it looked pretty cool. But hey, why do I need one? I got a Mavic until I bought one, and I was able to get a good deal on the one that I bought new, because Ron posted a hot deal on his channel. And now that I have it, like I went to Arizona this weekend, that thing was so convenient just to throw in my backpack and take with me to Arizona. And then not just convenient to take with you, but so fast and easy to get it up in the air. And it takes a decent video, even though it's only 1080p. There's a video on my channel right now. I think it looks pretty good. And then, like you guys have talked about before, it takes phenomenal photographs. Now, the Spark 2, I think what's interesting, of the 4 of us here, every one of us has held our hand up and said, oh, yeah, of course we're going to buy that. That's a little different than this action camera that just came out with. Hey, it's a no-brainer for all 4 of us.
Well, something I wanted to say real quick is I can see Ruben Larson from Norway. Glad to have you in from a long way away. Hope we're doing something entertaining. If not, give us a holler out what you want to talk about, and we'll try to get there for you. Another quick run through. If you haven't checked everybody out, please support everybody you see in the chat. We're not going to ask you to watch everybody's videos, because we know after you've got 2,000 or 3,000 subscriptions, it's really hard to watch all those videos. But it is great to sub, and we all love to see those numbers go up. So from time to time, if you can, go by and check out your friends' videos. Not every week, not every day. We're not going to expect all that, but it is cool when we all can support each other and try to help each other in the creative process. And with that being said, we'll go back into whatever with Ron.
Ethan got some good comments there.
I want to go for a second. Ethan Mitchell posted in the chat room. He said for the Spark, he wants picture profiles, different frame rates, and more smart features.
And quiet props, he says.
That's exactly okay. And quiet props, etc. Now the frame rates. Is there any possibility? I guess he's referring to any possibility of 60 frames per second on this bill.
I don't see it, Ron. I don't see them doing that, because I think that's talking. Looking towards getting a Mavic 2 Pro kind of camera in there, and that's I don't think that's going to be possible. And I think cost wise, I think again, be looking at a huge price increase if you were try to get something like 60 frames per second in a camera like this. It's not going to happen. But the 30 frames per second, and this is the thing that kicks me. Okay, I have a Phantom 4 Pro V2.0. I got them. I can do the 60 frames per second, and it's great. It produces unbelievably good video. But you know what? Okay, think about the average person that's going to be buying a Spark. All right, I can tell you, just from the group that I have, it's about 2,600 people. They come from all walks of life. I mean, it's just not nerd hobbyists like us. Okay, these are people. Have teenagers that buy it. You have seniors that buy it. You have moms that buy it. There's one who Jeanette Wilson. She bought it. She's over in Australia. She was on the show last night in the chat. But she uses a Spark to train horses, to help break horses in. People use this in a variety and a different mix kind of a thing. But the thing to remember about it is, people are not, you don't have your avid photographers, you don't have your cinematographers and videographers, looking to buy a Spark. Okay, you have hobbyists looking to buy a Spark, and people that are looking to get a first drone are buying a Spark. So, to have that 60 FPS in there, I don't think it's necessary.
Hey, I've got a question for the panel. So I think that what is the ideal price point for this drone? And from my mind, it's got to be under $500. And if it's under $500, it'll be a hit. If it gets much over that, it might struggle a little bit.
Agree 100%, Marcus.
Is that 500 with or without controller?
500, $499 with controller. If you want to fly more combo, it's going to be like what, $650?
So, okay. Well, I can tell you with the Fly More combo on the original, I paid $699.
I did too.
Well, and what was the Spark by itself when it first came out? Wasn't it like $499?
Yeah, it was $499. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I expect this will, because Spark's already come down so far.
Bill, that was $499 with no controller.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I don't think they're going to get by too much longer with going, oh, we're not going to provide you with a controller, but you can pay extra for it, because there's so many people. And I guarantee you that when the smart controller is available again for single purchase, the sales are going to drop through the floor. People are just not going to, it's not worth $7. I mean, because I checked the other day. What I'm not surprised is here in the next week or two, watch accessory coupons will be available, because it's still $600 with just taking the discount from where it's priced at now.
Could be.
Well, the interesting thing is, it's still part of the combo package that you can get, and you can get it at that discounted rate. So, sometimes I don't understand DJI. They just don't make sense. But, the whole thing is because of the tariff and all that. And I hope they get that situation straightened out soon.
Hey, Bill, the smart control is almost the price of the Mavic Air.
It's ridiculous, man. Yeah, exactly. Why would anybody pay? Hell, you could buy 2 Sparks almost.
Right.
I mean, the whole point is that you got to have the drone to control in the first place.
Right.
And now they're making the controller cost as much as the damn drone. Then I want an Inspire 2. If we're going to
get just based on Bill the Drone Reviewer's review of it, I was thinking really serious about it at $650. But at $750, like you said, Bill Thomas, it just takes me out of the ball game. I was struggling at $650, $750 for sure, no way.
Yeah, I'm sorry but the whole point is they tried to convince us that $650 was because their tech got stolen. I'm sitting here going, why have I got to bite the bullet? We've been supporting you the whole time. I guess what really burns me is those people, just like today, just like you, Marcus, those people that click that button right off the bat. What if next week they come out with the combo that says, oh, no, we're actually going to, if you buy the combo, then the price of the camera is actually going to be $250. We're going to give you 2 extra batteries, this cool case, this cool floaty pod, and kind of like a GoPro pack with a DJI carrying sack for your shoulder, and we're only going to charge you $585.
What was real interesting today, Bill, was all the accessories, with the exception of the SD cards, they were in stock reminders. None of them were available at launch today. The extra batteries, the battery hub, all that other stuff, nothing was available.
Okay, so but you know why? I mean, I got it's a crazy theory, I know. But here's why I think. They're wanting to see how many people actually buy the camera before they fully produce the accessories.
It's a good point. That's a good point.
So they can see today by how many orders they got, and they'll say, all right, let's run off one run. And then they'll say, let's see, okay, and then 2 more weeks go by, and they'll say, okay, let's go ahead and add another run, add another run, add another run. But that's what they're doing. They're just wanting to see if, okay, they don't like that one, let's redesign it. Oh, they really hate that one, let's just scratch it completely. You know, so we'll see that happen. That's what they're going to do to us from now on. And in this, go ahead.
Let me ask you a question before you get off this. Now, you talk about the accessories not being available and everything. Now, what you know, there's a vibrant third-party accessory market for the GoPro Hero. You can buy any GoPro knockoff Hero accessory very inexpensively. Why has that happened for the Osmo Pocket, and when will it happen for the Osmo Sport? That the third-party, accessory makers will just kind of just take over.
Freewell's already got filters, man.
Right.
I mean, they dropped their filters today.
You know that, but what about all the other stuff? Like, why have the third-party market just kind of come in just like they did on the GoPros and make all the pocket accessories known to man and make them a fraction of the price?
Well, you talking about action, or are you talking about pocket?
Well, I'm going to go with the pocket because it's been out long enough that the third-party accessory people could have already jumped in there.
You want to know, honestly, I think because DJI basically had designed the pocket so that only their engineers would know how to truly design accessories. So when they came out, of course, third-party people are gonna do it, but we're still gonna have to see what happens now. What's gonna happen with DJI camera sales? Are more people gonna buy the Osmo Pocket now, or more people gonna buy the Action now? So what's that going to do to the Osmo Pocket? Like I've been saying before, is the Osmo Pocket going to be kind of like a miniature film studio, or is that the way they're going to take it? And I do believe, Bill, the drone reviewer, didn't you mention earlier, is the Osmo Action going to run off of the same Mimo app that Pocket runs off of?
It will, the same app, yes.
So, wow. That's going to be interesting. They're going to share features.
Now, Marcus, can I ask you a quick question here? Since you have the Pocket and the Hero 7, which app is better between the two devices?
I rarely use the app on either one of them. That's, I guess, my point. They're both pretty good. So I'd say it's a tie. I've messed around with both of them. I think they're both pretty good. So I don't think there's a clear leader there. But the point is, and Ron, we've talked about this before. What I find is this Hero 7 is so much easier to use. I just grab it because like I said, it's easier to use.
Easy to use.
Sweet.
Easy to use. Now, well, Bill Thomas, you're celebrating, but let's ask you a quick question. You already have the Osmo Pocket.
One of my friends, Nemo, ordered from my affiliate link for the Osmo Action. So he's messaging me over here going, "Where's my stuff? Where's my stuff, man?" He's like, "I ordered from your link. It should be here already."
Bill's going to deliver it personally tomorrow morning.
Yeah. He says, "Is it coming from China?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's coming from China, man." I'm like, we're talking about you now. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Right. But yeah, I thought it was kind of funny. So yes, I got an affiliate. So let's see, what was $304? I got $3 and no, what is it? Might be 10%. Is it 10%, Bill, or 12?
It's 15, Bill.
Woo! I got $3.95.
You go, Bill.
So I can get me a landing pad, maybe.
Or you can go to Starbucks and get something to drink.
No, I can use my select coupon and get 2 coffees.
There you go.
Oh, you get Starbucks Select?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, sorry. So we went off on a tangent. We talked about everything. So I'm going to tell y'all a story real quick. I got online today because my wife has a project. She wants to put an outdoor patio, where you put down the nice gravel and then you put the sand down and you put your block down and you put the packing sand down and then you got your patio. Okay. So we were digging it up and everything. So we went ahead. We've ordered the 5/8 minus gravel to start with the base. We got that on the way. So I decided, okay, I got all this dirt where we dug this out and everything. I need a wheelbarrow. We need a couple of 2x4s to level out the sand and stuff. So I get online and I order it from my local Home Depot, and I make sure to click that little box up in the upper corner that says items are, or items in the store, and it's got the parentheses, how many items are, okay. So I did that with each one, made sure that each one was in my Home Depot store, right? So I go there, and so I order it at 12:30 our time, and I got some errands to run and stuff. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go get my stuff. So I go down to Home Depot. And it's already been 3 hours since I placed the order. So I'll go in and I said, hey, man, I got some things to do. I really need to pick up my stuff. It's been 3 hours. Can I get my stuff? So the guy's like, well, I don't know for sure if it's ready or not yet. And I'm like, I could have picked it up myself in 3 hours. Come on, man. So anyway, so the next thing I know, he's like, yeah, I'll go start gathering it myself. So he starts gathering it, and I'm like, wait a minute, where's this guy at? So I finally I'm getting upset, and so I'm talking to some people, and then one of the managers said, he's coming back, and he's like, well, I can't find this weeder thing, and so I'm talking to the manager, and he's like, no, you've got to fill his order because we don't have an excuse that we haven't filled it because, it's been 3 hours and it's all showing that it's in the store. So he goes back and he starts looking again. So I've got two things. I've got 2 saws that I ordered out of 8 items. So another 30 minutes goes by, and I'm like, man, we got drone therapy tonight. I got to eat dinner. I got to go, So I start looking on my phone at the stuff that I ordered to see where it is in the store. So I'm like, wheelbarrow, aisle 54, section bay 6. So I go to aisle 54, bay 6. And the very guy that was supposed to be getting my order together is looking at the shelf going, well, I don't know if you need 3 boxes for your wheelbarrow or 4 boxes for your wheelbarrow. And it's not put together. So we'll have to have somebody put it together. So he calls around, and basically nobody's going to come. And so he looks at me after about another 15 minutes and says, well, can you come back tomorrow? So after all that, and I ordered to make sure I could get it today because it was at my local store, and they already charged my credit card. Now they've said come back tomorrow, and I might get my stuff, I guess.
You know what they're saying is they say more saving and less doing, and it's like more doing and what about having my stuff ready?
So I was just like, well, I figured I would share that rant because after I get done here and get done talking to you, I'm probably going to call them online and be like, would you be upset if you were me? I even showed up. The manager says, yes, we're going to get your order ready. And then they come back and go, can you come back tomorrow? And I'm like, man, y'all have 4 hours in the first place. If you give me the tools, I'll put them together myself. Come on, man. So yeah, I was a little upset. So, what would you all do if you were me? Would you
go to Lowe's?
No. Well, Lowe's was even worse.
Oh,
I don't know if it had. Here's the thing. I don't know if it had to do with because my wife's Filipino. I don't know, but we literally stood in the flooring department for 1 hour, walked up front, purchased a couple of items, told the cashier we were thoroughly disgusted. And he said, oh, no, I'll make sure someone takes care of you. Please go back. We went back and stood another hour and no one ever came.
Wow.
So we left, and I've not been back there since.
Wow.
Well, I agree, Bill. You need to raise the roof with the store manager. I mean, that's unacceptable. 3 hours? Seriously? You better have that waiting in a cart and with somebody ready to push that cart out to my car.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. I was like, I just dropped $250 to you guys, and you're acting like I don't matter. And I'm like,
I'd be calling customer service for sure, Bill. I mean, they got to do something to make that right. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's just insane. 3 hours.
well, the thing about it was I was there 3 hours, and they made me wait a 4th hour, and then said come back tomorrow. So I was just like, wow, man.
They should have had it in the cart, and then they should have said, well, you know what? We went out to Chick-fil-A, and we took care of your dinner tonight, too. You know?
Something, man. It was just kind of ridiculous. I just was like crazy. Let's see. Let's get back to some drone chat. Ethan had to go because he has to go back to work tomorrow. And Ethan, we're going to start. We need to stay on Ethan because he was telling me he actually joined Coast to Coast Drones. I hope he's still in Coast to Coast Drones. He joined the other day. He was telling me that when I was speaking to him on his channel, that he would love to come on some of these live drone channels, but he doesn't have experience live streaming. And I told him that we would all help him get started. So, everybody, please, that you're listening tonight, if you haven't checked him out, go by Ethan's channel, offer to help him learn how to live stream. Tell him to come see any of us that will help him live stream. And let's see, it's already.
Great channel. It is absolutely fantastic. He's on my shows all the time. Ethan, you know, I know you're probably getting ready to call her night, but it is super easy. Ron's here, Marcus is here, I'm here, Bill's here. We will get you started. It's easy, not a problem.
Bill, maybe you shouldn't say me. I'm the one that the Xeno Nation get going right one night, and then one day I'm streaming what should be a private chat. Maybe they shouldn't ask me. I'm not exactly I'm good as a guest. I'm just not good as the host.
You know how to click the link, right, Ron?
Yeah, I'm more of a guest than I am a host, but I'm learning, right, Marcus?
Oh man, Ron, you did, like this morning, you did an awesome job. You're a great host.
Thank you. Bill's muted, but listen, Bill, the drone reviewer, why I got you here. I wanted to say that I had a couple things for you, but one, I got the Mavic 2 Pro up just for a few minutes today for the first time ever.
Oh, how was that?
Good. It was a sure flight, but you know,
he had to take a cigarette and smoke, or he had to smoke and take a shower afterwards.
I really enjoyed that camera on it, Bill. Thanks for the recommendation.
Oh, you're welcome. I knew you'd love that. It just. I mean, you know, the video, I tell people to watch 2 of my videos. The one from when you and I and your wife and my wife were at the pier, and then the one I did at the sunset. I said, if you want to get sold on a drone, watch those videos. I guarantee you, after you watch those videos and you're thinking about getting a drone, you'll buy a Mavic 2 Pro.
But here's a good story, Bill. So, but I was in a kind of a hurry to get up because I was doing the IMU calibration. I was fiddling with it forever before we took it off, and then it got real cloudy, and I thought Ray was coming, so we hurried out. So I just grabbed any memory card I had off the shelf to put in it, Ray. Well, I get there, I get to take off, and it says, this memory card's too slow. You can't film in 4K with it. Yeah, and I'm like, that's fine. 4K 2.7. I don't care. I just want to fly the drone. So like I put it in like 2.7K, and it seemed to be fine there. But then I wanted to take a nice picture up there, and I wanted to go like HDR or something like that. Same thing. It was your memory card is too slow, so it was really choking on. I didn't have a U3. I had a U1, and it was really choking on the U1 card.
Well, see, you know, you can actually change the default in an instance like that. You could change it over to that 8 gigabytes of internal storage too. There's an option to do that.
You know what? I saw that, and I because I switched over to the memory card once I popped the memory card, but I did that at home. I didn't realize that until I got to the field that I was having issues. I was running out late, so I didn't really have time to fiddle with the whole thing. And here's something funny. So I go to take it off, and a guy walks by at the park, and he says, "Oh, is that the Mavic 2 there?" He says, "Oh, he told me he's a fireman. He has the Mavic 1, and he's about to upgrade to the Mavic 2." He got talking about the tariffs on the smart control and this that. So just randomly, I got in this whole conversation with somebody that had a Mavic and was going to get a Mavic 2, and I told him, "This is the first time I've ever taken off. I kind of just want to calibrate the compass and just make sure it flies okay." But again, I got in this. Out of no place, like a complete stranger, I got in this big, Mavic 2 conversation, which was kind of just great, really.
Well, that's interesting. You mentioned the IMU calibration. That's one of the things I tell people all the time when you get a brand new drone out of the box, especially if it's coming from China. I said, you got to do that IMU calibration. I said, that's just it's easy. It's intuitive. It doesn't take long. It's really a piece of cake, but you need to do that. I mean, if you don't, and you fly straight out of the box without doing that,
Yeah.
you're not, your horizon may tell. You may have all kind of other issues and stuff. So an IMU calibration is a must.
Couple of quick points real fast. I'm going to let you get in here, Marcus. I just want to say good night to Roger from the Canadian Drone Hub. Like I said, if you haven't already experienced it, please have your morning coffee with Canadian Drone Hub and all those crazy people talking about drones and a variety of other subjects. Also, Ruben Larson also brought up a point about how the young man was testing the DJI Osmo Action with the new ND filters. And I think that was the same young man that had the Freewell filters that kind of came out early. And with that being said, I'm going to throw it right back to Marcus Crawford.
Hey, thank you, Bill. So no, I just was going to make a quick point. One of the things that impressed me about the FIMI X8 is when you first get into the app, at the very top, if you hit the center of the top, it shows you everything that you can calibrate on that drone and whether it needs to be, whether it's nominal or not, or whether you need to calibrate. I just think that's really cool. It's just at a glance, you can look and see the status of the drone.
Where you really have to hunt and peck to find the calibration stuff in the DJI menus or whatever. If you haven't done it in a while, I always have to work my way through again. I get frustrated hunting for it. I'm going to go back to something, Bill, the drone viewer touched on a little while ago. I think it was in a response to Ethan Mitchell and the frame rates. I mean, I totally agree with the Spark, especially the frame rates, but even in general, like here's something a lot of people don't understand about frame rates. There is no better frame rate. There's only a correct frame rate. So just because a drone has 60 FPS doesn't mean it's better. You know, again, it said the higher number is a better. It's a correct frame rate. It's not a better frame rate. So I mean, I could go on ever about frame rates, but again,
oh, do it. I'd love to hear.
That's good, Ron. That's a good point, Ron, because it's like so many people are just, pardon my language, hell bent on 60 frames per second and everything, and it does produce good video. I will say that. I mean, there's no question about that. But you know what? For most people out there, 30 frames per second is going to be is going to be the correct frame rate, as you said. I like your language there, Ron, terminology. Because
go finish. I want to explain in layman's terms about the frame rates, but go ahead.
No, what I was going to say was again, most of the people that buy that Spark, they're not going to care whether or not it's 30 or 60. And the other thing is, and I can tell you this. Most people when they're watching YouTube, they watch it on their iPhones or their Android devices, and they're watching it in 1080p. And having that 4K, it's a nice thing, but unless you have a 4K TV, people will never see it in 4K.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Ron.
Back to framing just for a second. Basically, 24 frames per second is what your standard Hollywood movies filmed at. 30 frames per second is what your basic TV episode is filmed at. And 60 frames per second is what a video game looks like. And I'm just oversimplifying things, but just think of it in that terms. Put it this way, there's never ever been a Hollywood movie filmed at 60 frames per second. Peter Jackson filmed The Hobbit at 48 frames per second about 10 years ago. And guess what? Not one, it was panned, and not one Hollywood movie has ever filmed in anything above 24 frames per second since Peter Jackson's mistake in filming The Hobbit at 48 frames per second. So it's just a little background. I mean, I know people say they film at the 60 so they can smooth it down to 30. They smooth the yaws of the quadcopter out. I've heard that, but and maybe that is something valid. I mean, I never feel I have to smooth my moves out by going down frame. Basically, 60 frames per second is the slow motion. It's a slow motion frame rate. Is basically what it is.
Yeah, I mean you're exactly right, Ron. And for most, like I said, most people, will never. I mean, you brought up a great example, as far as like what motion pictures are at. I mean, seriously. And, to get the 4K at 60 frames per second. I mean, yeah, it's nice. It's a great thing. But what device are you going to watch it on, and how many people are going to watch it? That's one of my first questions.
A couple of things I wanted to bring up real quick. I don't know if you all noticed, but Furball Kim FPV has showed up in the chat. This is what's weird going on with YouTube. I could have sworn he'd been a moderator basically since he and I had been friends, but suddenly he goes rolling through and I don't see it on there, which was really weird. So anyway, I'd given it back to him now. And so I wanted to give a shout out to him because he is one of the original OG of the Canadian Drone Connection. I mean hub, but Canadian Drone Connection. I like that too. But yeah, But yeah, Kim's one of those originals. So go check out his stuff. He's doing some FPV stuff. You can see John Coopy gave him a holler back out. I just want to give a quick shout out to the chat again. You can see PropSoft was in there. Yes, PropSoft, we accept criticism. We might not accept it, but we'll take it. We don't have any problem with it. We're just a bunch of old guys that love to get together and talking about drones and sharing with people the fact that we love to fly drones, and it makes us feel better from flying drones. So that's why we get together, hang out. Sometimes we have young people, sometimes we have old people, but it's just because we all love flying drones, period. And it doesn't have anything to do. We're not trying to make anybody put us on TV, although, hey, we're accepting offers. But yeah, sure. Tell us whatever you think, man. We'll try our best. If not, hopefully you'll still stick around. And I'm going to throw it back to anybody that wants to interject now.
Well, we're not going to bore people anymore with this week of frame rates. But I was hoping Marcus Crawford. I think he had an NDA. He had an NDA on a new camera from Hubson. Did you actually? Were you actually able to prepare for tonight's show?
Oh, geez, what did I do with that? Yeah, the Hubson Action Cam. It looks suspiciously like a Get 2, but yeah. Boy, I probably just screwed up my NDA though. Dang it, Ron.
Sorry, Marcus. I was hoping you got a special thing because the show, because it could be competitor to the Osmo Action, right?
Some might call it a competitor. I guess you could say it's a competitor in the same way that the Hubson Xeno is a competitor to the Mavic 2 Pro. Not really.
Hey, Marcus and I brought this up on our morning show to both Bills. Of course, we keep comparing the Osmo Action to the Hero 7, which, is the obvious comparison. But the Action's coming into a tough category because it's got a rival at the top like the Hero 7, but also it's got all these cheap knockoff cameras, taking sales away at the bottom end. And a lot of these, like the Xiaomi Yi, and he said the Get 2, the Firefly. There's a whole bunch of 4K action cameras that don't cost much more than $100. And a lot of people are going to say, well, why am I going to pay $349 when I can get this 4K, 30 for only, barely over $100? So it's really a tough category for DJI to enter at this point because, again, they got the low end's going to be taken away from them by the knockoffs, and then they got to fight GoPro at the top end. So Marcus wants to talk about his Get 2 here. I'm going to let him.
Well, I just was going to reinforce your point. So I was perfectly happy with this Get 2 until the Hero 7 with that hyper smooth technology. And that's what motivated me to get the GoPro at that point. And there's just a ton of these cameras out there, and they take great video. So to Ron's point, that is just another thing that DJI is going to have to compete with. I think that's an excellent point.
Well, Brian just put in the chat, those cheap action cams are just that, cheap action cams.
I got to tell you, this thing works really well. This Get 2, I think I paid $129 for it. Man, I've used it in my race car. I've used it. Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, I mean these things. They may not. You may be able to drop them all. Brian may not be able to throw them in his sink with all the water in and sweep them off his kitchen floor or whatever. But I mean, again, I've had a Xiaomi Yi or whatever. It's a decent little camera. It worked great. It always. I had it for a couple of years. It always worked. Always started up. Picture quality was decent for the price. Again, these things, Again, a lot of people are going to say, well, I pay all that money. Again, they say the same thing about why pay for them for a GoPro when I can get these things for barely over $100. I still get 4K.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the one that John Coopy hooked me up with too. What is the John? You're still here. Tell me what that is. I just love to have friends with memory so that you don't have to. But yeah, props off something that he made a point. Was talking about he felt like he was watching in on a private Skype session, and I guess that's from where it's switching back and forth through the Google Hangouts mechanism. We have every intention, all of us and all our channels have the intentions to evolve to either OBS or like Streamlabs or something like that. We just haven't gotten it completely worked out to where we can all test and everything to get it locked down to where we can all use these. Is that what you're talking about? Maybe a little spice to the show itself, as far as maybe a little more texture, a little more pomp and circumstance, or what do you mean as far as what could we do to get away from a private Skype session?
Bill, John says the Firefly 8S. Yeah, great. I mean, I saw a lot of great reviews. That's another great GoPro knockoff.
I mean, it wasn't $100, so there's a difference, but it actually performs. It's not just a crappy little camera.
Oh, my wife has a great idea for a new drone channel, guys. Okay. You know, and I know Bill will appreciate that, because I know your wife likes those housewife shows.
Yeah.
To do instead of, like, you know, they have the Housewives of Atlanta, Housewives of Potomac, and all this. Do the drone reviewers of Atlanta, or the drone reviewers of the United States, or something like this. Because she said there's more drama that goes on your drone channels than sometimes there is on Bravo.
Well, that's like I said, we need to have like they have the reviews. And like I was saying before, you know, I'd like to get like Dan on, you know, Drone Worship. I'd like to get Billy Kyle on, get Original Dobo on, you know, all the way back, Captain Cook, you know, everybody. And then we could have just like they have on, and my wife even volunteered. She said she'd be the host. My little Filipino wife would be the host. And then we'd have like one side, you know, where you have like on the Housewives, where and then we would just go back and forth. But the thing, it would really, I think it would be really cool. But of course, we'd have to script it, and to tell everybody ahead of time that it was scripted, so you know people wouldn't go nuts if they thought, you know, somebody would scream at somebody and start cussing somebody, and it would be bleep bleep bleep, you know, whatever, so that they would understand. Kind of be like War of the Worlds, like no, this is a reenactment. It's not actually real. This is all scripted. We're not actually going to bodily harm each other, you know. But you know, I think it would be awesome, and we could even have like commercials and have little disclaimers. This is all an act. Please, just a performance by all the people present. Don't feel it's really serious. You know, that type of thing. That would be really kind of cool. Let's see. Larson was asking someone who's tested the Xiaomi Mi 4K action camera. John, have you messed with anything like that? Anybody else? The Xiaomi Mi 4K action camera.
Well, Xiaomi, they came up with a couple years ago. They came up with a 4K action. Then they came up with a 4K action plus, which was comparable to the Hero 5. Actually, it was a little bit better than the Hero 5 in many areas. But they haven't released anything in a couple years.
Ken's been hiding in the chat. He just you see Original Dobo popped in and said if he can't do bodily harm, he can't come on the show. I didn't say we couldn't go WWE now. I did not say that. So we could actually go WWE as long as it's scripted. But I still think that would be absolutely hilarious, and we would all have so much fun. And everybody would lose it while we were doing this.
And you know what? We could pitch this to a network too. Seriously.
What's even funnier is we could organize, you know, surprise guests like they have, you know, would show up and be like, well, we're going to bring on so-and-so who was involved in this tyranny and dispute, you know, and then everybody like,
now, hold it. I thought you couldn't say network.
You don't say network.
What do you mean network?
Like Bravo or
Bill the drone reviewer said network, and I got, you know,
Bravo or Discovery or
But but I don't understand. You're not allowed. Okay, wait a minute. We said it multiple times.
Well,
Is like the
so
YouTube hammer going to come down?
What I'm referring back to is you told a story one time about the Canadian drone network.
Right.
That's what I was referring to.
Oh yeah. But no, actually, the other, like I said, they're the Canadian Drone Hub. But I thought the Canadian Drone Connection was kind of cool. Then you could go off on like one of these, Chinese connection type things with Gene Hackman and stuff, and be like really cool with drones and stuff. That would be really cool. Or we could call it the Chinese Drone Connection. It'd be like Bruce Lee.
How about Bruce Lee and Gene Hackman both in the same?
Yes! Oh my God! So it'd be like kind of like DJI meets an Evolve controller.
Could you see Bruce Lee taking on a drone from the future, like a killer drone or whatever? But
no, man, it wouldn't matter. He'd be like, poof. He'd be like, "What?" And the drone just like, that'd be it. Bruce Lee'd be like, "What's that?" And it's like zap him, and he'd be vaporized. It'd be like Indiana Jones, but in reverse.
And you know who did the soundtrack for that movie? Peter Frampton.
Oh yeah.
And
Lord.
Cameo.
Oh, and another thing too, we got to keep this idea going about ski resorts being drone parks, especially with this new law that's coming out, man. If they're going to put us in a box, at least put us in a box on top of a mountain.
Right. We don't want to be like, what's that old movie where they put baby in a corner? Dirty Dancing.
Yeah.
Put baby in that little table in the corner. We don't want to be like, be put in our little, corner of the that field.
Well, I expect it's like they're going to put us in dried out lake beds or something, somewhere where they're going to be like, well, you got to hike all the way out in the middle of that kind of swampy area, and you see that little like old boat dock there. That's where you can take off from. Thanks, man.
So the hobby would become just looking at your drones on a shelf. That's what would happen. Huh?
Or it's going to be like all those. You can fly your drone in Cuba or Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah. So it'll be drone tourists.
Yeah, exactly, man. Or even better, man, they'll be like, oh, you can't make it to the airfield today? Then rent a drone at the airfield and fly while you're at home. What? You mean I'll get to still fly in a box from my home? Gee, thanks.
Basically, what you're saying, Bill, these fields are going to be far away from wherever Amazon's trying to deliver a package to.
Well, not just that, but anybody. Like, there's going to be neighbors griping at the drones looking in their window, and it's because all ski resorts are literally built up on top of the mountains, away from everybody. And like I have brought up before, usually their summertime events are on the lower half of the mountain. And this just enables them to check the whole mountain, see where they could put in new trails, just like I said a million times, whatever they needed to do. And it would benefit everybody. It would give them a viable income from the entire mountain for the entire season. Because, I mean, yeah, it's great and wonderful if you got people riding mountain bikes off of the place. But something tells me that they're going to pay $10, $15 to ride that mountain bike all day, as opposed to drone pilots that would probably pay $400 and $500 to fly their drone all day. Well, what do you think? If you knew that you could be 15,000 feet in the air and you could get your drone up another 400 feet above that and take pictures, how much would you pay?
Good point.
I'd probably pay about $100, but I think your idea is great, Bill. I think it really has a lot of merit to it.
But here's the thing: what would you pay? Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is the $500 encompasses your room at the ski lodge that would normally be okay. Then your lift ticket. Then you go up and you pay say $100, $125 to fly all day long. That's a package deal. Now you could still drive that day, pay $125, ride the chairlift up, and fly all day, and then come back down and get in your car and leave. You could still do that. But I'm just saying, I'm trying to figure out a way that they could do, because a lot of their concerts and stuff like that are going to be driven towards the weekends when they can get the big crowds and stuff. But people will show up during the week to fly their drone and still keep those rooms booked. In my opinion, I don't know. I could be wrong.
Well, that would make it a year-round place, which would be fantastic, and it's a win-win. Like you said, it's such an incredible idea, Bill, because you think it's not only going to benefit, you get the benefit of getting up there and getting your drone up, but you can also check things out for them. You can check out the lifts, you can check out, the trails, there's a myriad of things that can be done with that. So yeah, I think it's a totally spot on, genius idea, Bill.
Okay, something I wanted to bring up though. When I said something about it, John Coopy pointed out to me that there was a gentleman. I think he was telling me it was a defunct ski lodge somewhere in New Jersey that the guy tried to get it done, but that he couldn't get insurance for the place. And so, I had thought that was an original idea for me, but he pointed out that somebody. But my idea is just to go, like, you tell somebody like Verifly that's your plan. And you say, okay, here's the deal. All these people we're going to have come in, they're going to sign a one-day deal with you for a certain amount. We're going to give you a cut. And then they're going to say, okay, you're going to have X amount of people per day, 40, 50 people. We'll give you 2% off for your customers, something like that. And eventually you're going to get so much business that they're going to rub your back even more, and wash hands, whatever, how you want to word it.
Oh, yeah.
So that's just, I want to bring that up. I also want to bring up Spin Up 2019. So October 19th, I believe the dates again. Please start saving your nickels, pennies, dimes, and whatever you see on the street that you want to put in your pocket, and try to go to Spin Up and meet a lot of your big drone heroes, and maybe hang out with them and have dinner or a rib or two. Who knows?
Hang out with Xeno Nation and get autographs from Marcus and Ron.
We'll be on the corner
with our Spark 2s.
Yes, with our Spark 2s. Everybody
get to see the original Spark 2 owned by Ron Brown.
Yes, the original. He will have it there, and you can have your picture taken with it for only $5.95.
Yes, and all proceeds go to Spin Up.
Yes, all proceeds go to Spin Up. And also, please check out Monday nights, Xeno Nation, soon to be Drone Nation. Who knows? Maybe soon. Tuesday nights, Bill the Drone Reviewer with Rotor Talk Live. And, of course, always on Wednesdays, Drone Therapy, because you never know who's going to show up. You're always going to see probably some formulation of this panel right here, because this is probably going to be the original 4 people of the Horseman Media Group, if it works out that way. So, yes, we're going to try to do something else. Maybe have a drone connection where we could have one channel that was just dedicated to different drone shows throughout the week. So if you're interested and would like to get involved with us and maybe help from behind the scenes, maybe direct, maybe do something else, then please get in contact with any one of the 4 of us at any given time. So I'm going to throw it around the room one more time, since we've already been on for an hour and a half, so that everyone can give their closing thoughts. And I'm going to go out of normal motions and say, Marcus Crawford, let's go to you. What are your closing thoughts?
Hey, well, I got to tell you, Bill Thomas, your timing is perfect, because I can smell my wife cooking dinner downstairs, and I'm a fat guy, so that's important. But great show tonight. We covered a lot of topics: Spark 2, the Osmo action, and just general fun drone flying. And what I'm going to say is, I like that it sounds like you're eavesdropping on a Skype call, because all of us play off of each other, and that's what I enjoy about this channel. And I guess, let's see, probably Ron Brown, huh?
Marcus, thank you so much. Thanks everybody for being here, everybody in the chat room for joining us tonight. We had a great panel, and I'm going to call this Osmo Action Day, since we covered the event all day long, the non-event all day long. Bill Thomas was up before dawn, covered it early on, then Marcus and I jumped on about 9:30 and Bill Thomas in the chat room for a few minutes, and Bill the Drone Reviewer. Then we all reconvened on Bill the Drone Reviewer show at noon, and by then we had all watched a couple of reviews and had more information. And then we had all day to stew on it and come back here late night and talk it over again. So it was truly Osmo Action Day, a great day indeed. And we're going to look forward to Bill the Action Camera Reviewer receiving it in a few days and changing his name a little bit and giving us the the honest full feature review, no bias. And since he doesn't have a Hero 7, it's almost a good thing because he won't have to uncompare anything, which I think will help him in his review. So on that note, I'm going to throw it to Bill the Action Camera Reviewer for his final thoughts on the night.
Ron, thank you so much, and thank you for sharing your Spark 2 under NDA. We will all vouch for you with I'll contact Romeo and make sure you're good with DJI. So don't worry about that.
Jail.
We'll get you out of DJI jail. I promise. Okay, that won't be a problem. But Bill, I want to thank you for another great show tonight. A great chat tonight. It was fantastic. Yeah, Ron's right. It's been an Osmo action day from the time we got up till closing of the show here tonight. It's been a great day for that. It's been a great day to talk about the Spark 2 and building up some genuine excitement, something that I think Marcus he might have a race to the finish line for the buy button from all of us as far as the Spark 2 is concerned. But, just a wonderful group of people in the chat tonight. Just it was fantastic. I was out there watching people and just, and to one of the best hosts here, Bill Thomas. He does a fantastic job. He has great ideas. And folks, I got to tell you this. All right. The man loves drones. That's why he does this. Okay. It's not for glory. It's not for fame. It's not for getting, 100,000 subscribers. He does it because he wants to get the good news of drones out to everybody. And he wants to get that message out and loud and clear. And I think that's something we all need. We all need good news every day. And I'll tell you what, you come to Drone Therapy, you get good news. And that's what we try to do here. And again, I got to thank Bill Thomas for the great job that you do and for hosting this and for getting these three old geezers together and having a good time talking drones.
Well, I appreciate that very much, but I'm going to be honest with you. I'll take 100,000 subscribers if y'all want to give them to me. I was just kind of hoping it would be really cool to have like 1,000 subscribers by my birthday, because more than likely, if the Spark 2 comes out, that's what I'm going to try to get a hold of. But yes, I just wanted to tell everyone I'm very grateful to have everyone here tonight. Glad to have you in the chat. We had a blast, and like we always do. Please come back next week because we'll have some crazy topic to talk about. Like I said, there's going to be some incarnations. Somebody might be busy next week, but there's probably going to be one of the four of us. We're going to try to get some guests back on, and I really and truthfully want to get back into some people who are reviewing the toy drones. I want to give them some more exposure. So anybody in the chat, if you know of someone that's reviewing that you like their reviews and you'd like to see them kind of hang out with us and talk about various things, then please reach out to me, to Ron Brown, to Marcus Crawford, to Bill the Drone Reviewer, or even somebody else that you hear me talk about regularly, like John Coopy. A lot of people in chat that about that I kind of hang out with on a regular basis. You can holler at any one of them, or you can also email us at dronetherapy@outlook.com. So you can also email us there. And with that being said, and Ron saying today was Osmo Action Day, I got one thing to say: rock steady.